Old school COD is finally back, and I have nothing but pure excitement for it. For those of you who are unaware, after Xbox's recent acquisition of Activision Blizzard, they have taken it upon themselves to go back and fix the old Call of Duty servers from the Xbox 360 days. The classic Call of Duty servers, I'm talking Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and so on, have been notoriously broken for many years now, and Activision has never bothered to go back and fix them. Well, until now, of course. But every server was just full of hackers and really just made the game unplayable. But now with Xbox going back and finally fixing the servers, these old games are finally seeing life in them they literally haven't seen in years. Like, I'm pretty sure Black Ops 1, just as of a few days ago, had a peak of over 250,000 players online at one moment. And Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2 and the other old games are really not far behind in player count. And I think with how quickly these games blew up after having their servers fixed, really just goes to show that people prefer playing these old games rather than the new games that are being pushed out. We have been getting annual Call of Duty releases since 2007, and every year we more or less get the same experience pushed out, well, every year, and it's kind of boring. And since Call of Duty's been boring for a lot of years now, going back to these old games really kind of is a breath of fresh air, which is really nice. Now, you could just say that people are going back to play these games for nostalgia purposes, which isn't entirely wrong, but at the same time, these old games are just a lot more consumer friendly, and a lot more fun too. There were no battle passes you had to grind through, no shop, no battle royale, just you, your buddies, and a lot of fun. The old games did have map packs though, which weren't very consumer friendly, but regardless, I just feel like the old games kind of have a charm to them that the new games kind of lack, in my opinion. Like, I can tell you right now that I put in way more hours into Modern Warfare 2 from 2009 than Modern Warfare 2 that came out last year. Now tell me, how is a remake or a reboot of a game essentially worse than the original? It's the charm that the old games had. You see this in a lot of movies too. A lot of movies, the originals are always preferred over the remakes, and it's because they have that charm to them, that, you know, nostalgia to them, and they were just so great for their time that they don't need to keep being pushed out as the same product. And the same thing is literally here for Call of Duty. Like, even if you're not nostalgic for old COD, I feel like you can kind of recognize that the old games were just kind of built better, had more content and stuff like that in general. And you can argue that the old COD games are all copies of each other, kind of like how the new COD games are all copies of each other, which isn't entirely wrong either, but the old games copied each other of the Golden Age of COD, meaning they were all copies of good games rather than copies of boring and bad games. The old games were just simple and fun to play through, and their campaigns especially were something special. Whether it was the original Modern Warfare stories, fighting the Cold War in Black Ops 1, or going to the near future in Black Ops 2, all these games had very interesting, intriguing, fun, bombastic, action-packed stories. However, I will admit the new Modern Warfare games have been excelling, in my opinion at least, at their storytelling. With Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 last year, they have actually made like decent, grounded like stories that, you know, are actually pretty good. So I will give them that. But that isn't all the modern games are lacking. Maybe the old games had better rewards to work towards while ranking up. Maybe the gameplay was a lot more simple and less intense. Or maybe we're all just blinded with nostalgia goggles. But I think the biggest thing is that the gaming market has gotten a lot more competitive in recent years. And so a lot more simple, less intense, casual play is very absent in any new COD game. This is also true for Halo and many other online titles as of right now too. I think killing the casual market single-handedly wounded the franchise for me and many other people. Call of Duty has always had its competitive scene, but it was never forced upon players. If you look at a game like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, for example, I feel like it is just a lot better than like the Modern Warfare remakes or reboots that we're getting nowadays. The new Modern Warfare games can be fun for a little bit. The new Call of Duty games in general can be fun for a little bit, but I feel like I lose interest very quickly as opposed to not losing interest on the old games and even going back to them years later because I miss them so much. So yeah, in my opinion, part of the charm of the old COD games is that they launched feature complete with minimal bugs and had interesting campaigns and an accompaniment for both the competitive and casual scene in the gaming market. So with the priority shift to modern gaming, we unfortunately probably won't be getting any new COD games like the originals, but since Xbox has fixed the old servers so we can play old COD, I do at least have to thank them for that. Even though the Activision Blizzard merger with Xbox isn't technically fully complete now, it pretty much is, and I think Xbox owning Call of Duty will actually be a good thing for the future of the franchise. Now, I know Xbox doesn't have a great track record of acquiring studios in the past, but the way I see it, I feel like they can't do any more harm than Activision has already done to the series. And with fixing the Golden Age servers and putting all the games on sale temporarily, I feel like this is a great first step in making a better future for Call of Duty. Like, literally putting the games on sale is already better than anything Activision has done in many years, in my opinion. Did you know that Black Ops 2 still sells for $60 full price? In fact, did you know that every game after Black Ops 2 sells for $60 or even $70 full price when they're not on sale? It's incredibly greedy, and I think permanently lowering the price of these old games, because they're so old, they don't need to be full price. I think that would really mark their big first step of Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard. I feel like people will appreciate them and put their trust in them more if they just do something as simple as lowering the prices of these decade-old games. Another great change Xbox can make, in my opinion, is canceling the annual releases of Call of Duty. Games take a lot longer to make nowadays, and so while you could get away with making a new Call of Duty every year like 10 years ago, considering game development takes way longer now because games are a lot more graphically intensive, way more technically impressive and stuff, you can't make a game come out every year and expect it to be as good as the old ones and as polished as the old ones. And so what you get is a lot of these new games are broken, buggy messes that are not feature complete. So I think canceling the annual Call of Duty releases will give the developers more time to work on the games, work out all the technical issues, and also just add to their creativity and change up the formula a bit. And I think Halo is a great example of this. We get a new Halo game every 3 to 6 years or so, and while 343 hasn't been handling the franchise that well, something they have consistently done is change the gameplay and formula to either improve it or just alter it in general. Sure, the gameplay went downhill from Halo Reach to Halo 4. Halo 4's gameplay was terrible, but Halo 5 was an easy improvement over Halo 4's gameplay where it completely changed it, and Halo Infinite was another complete redesign over Halo 5's gameplay to make some of the best gameplay we've had in the series, in my opinion. If Call of Duty starts making changes like this and gets original ideas in there, I think it would be great for not just the market that they're marketing towards, but also just the casual gaming market in general. It would make the games feel less copy and paste and actually give each game its own unique identity instead of just the same bland Call of Duty we get every year. But for now, we just need to hope that the AAA greed and lack of innovation will dissipate in the near future. And if it doesn't, we have the old COD games that Xbox has graciously revived for us, and we also have indie games like BattleBit Remastered. Which brings me to my alternative point. With how greedy and uninspired AAA games have gotten in the last few years, we are now starting to see a surge in indie games like BattleBit Remastered, for example. And I really think this is a good thing overall. If AAA gaming companies won't give us what we want, then I think we should move down to indie games to kind of make a point and not spend $70 on every new release. It's kind of like a boycott, if you really think about it, over AAA games, and I really don't see a problem with doing that. There are always going to be people that blindly buy bad AAA games, and I'm just choosing to be more selective over them personally. I have put so many hours into BattleBit Remastered and the old COD games over anything that I put into the modern COD games, or Modern Warfare 2 for example, as it is the newest release and the most recent one that I have purchased. I foolishly pre-ordered Battlefield 2042 before it came out because there was so much hype around it, and now I'm going to be very cautious for any new Battlefield entry in the franchise. I really have no interest for a Modern Warfare 3 coming out this year, and it might be a while before I buy any new COD game in general. But at the end of the day, these are just all my opinions, and I wanted to spill them out onto you guys. So sorry if this video is a bit messy and all over the place. You don't have to agree with me, and you can think I make terrible points, but this is just kind of where my interest lies with Call of Duty and modern gaming in general, especially with multiplayer games. I'm really looking forward to Starfield this year and Spider-Man 2, but not just another copy-paste Modern Warfare game releasing this year. Also, the resurgence of classic Call of Duty is a great thing, and I hope Xbox knows what they're doing with the IP, because it can really mean great things for the future of the franchise. And yeah, that's about it. Bye.